How's it going? I am back. I'm gonna give this New Game Plus Ultimania thing another try. I'm just learning that you apparently cannot customize this stuff inside the training range. I'm gonna back out. I didn't turn off cutscenes either, which apparently is something you can do, so I'm gonna try that again. Yeah, this threw me off. I thought this meant cutscenes are off, but this means cutscenes are off as far as I understand. I have no real idea how the score is calculated here, but nothing. I'll just play it and see. I'm not really here for beating a high score. I'm just kind of here to play around in the harder difficulty and see if the game is more fun that way. I was doing regular New Game Plus for a little bit, and I was kind of disappointed by it, at least in the first level. I saw like 2 new enemies in the entire first level. There was like a Minotaur and one of the fights with wolves, and then some raptors later on. I think that was actually it. The ninja definitely had a lot more health and hit harder, as did pretty much everything, but I was definitely led to believe that New Game Plus was going to be a bit more exciting. I think I might stop using Odin. Very strong, but it's a little old. I don't want to give Ramu a try. I have enough to master this. Master this. I like Odin's, but I just, it keeps frustrating me because like switching to the sword is so awkward. And then your combos are surprisingly limited. Like that move is cool, the parry punish. But it's kind of it. Everything else is like, I don't know, it lacks a little bit, I think. Obviously the heavy attack finishers are insane, but I've done them so many times at this point that it's not like exciting to see anymore. I want to mix this up a little bit, try something different. Let's do this. I'm gonna go. I think I want to keep using Phoenix. I just enjoy the dash. It's such a good button. Garuda I only really have for heavy monsters. The pull is not as satisfying as I thought it would be, but pulling down staggered monsters or like using it to get free aerial combos is quite strong. Keep these, I think. 5% more damage is probably good. The problem is I don't know what the cooldown of Diamond Dust even is. It doesn't tell you anywhere. I could time it, I guess, but I don't particularly want to. As far as I can tell, 7 seconds is a pretty solid reduction, but I'll just use this. Apparently you can like merge this stuff in New Game Plus. I haven't actually figured out how. I think this is what you get from the final boss. I don't know. That. I'm gonna use different stuff. Upgrade these. Still love lightning rod. It's just such a good utility button. Well. It's always been good. But again, I wanted to use different stuff. Try this one before. Yeah, but I don't really want to. This one might be good for like aerial combos. That one's terrible. That one's also just, why would you use that? It's crazy how expensive that is to upgrade. One's 5,000. That does increase the duration. I mean, it's strong, don't get me wrong. Very good, but I also really like to block. Instead. Maybe? Problem is, like, these two are just integral to my playstyle. Like, I feel like I'm missing something if I don't have one of these. I can replace this one with Cold Snap because it still kind of serves the same purpose. This one I just feel like is absolutely necessary. And then I want to try Romeo, so I'm not gonna swap it for now. I just need to figure out what buttons I want to use. Apparently this one's pretty good. Give it a try. I don't know why you would want this. There's never a time where I want to knock an enemy back. I guess. Okay, that's kind of cool. I didn't realize that how much it changes when you charge it. It'd be nice to use this for aerial combos, maybe. I'd probably combo this with ignition. Knock him back and then immediately. Ooh. I don't know. Maybe the other way around. I wanted my last one. I like wind up. I like upheaval. I like Raging Fist. But this one is like, he's so inconsistent. Like I'll parry an attack and then my character starts punching 90 degrees to the left and it just immediately makes it useless. Other times I'll 99% sure I timed it right to parry, but it just doesn't actually parry, and then I also just punch the air. Like that one upsets me. I've never really used these ones, but I also just don't see the reason for it. Did it show you the upgraded version? So if I upgrade it, does it change the... Oh yeah, it does, okay. Two. Or lightning strikes. I think that's not bad. Got a good bit of lightning. I think I'll just use... Oh, I could take Rift Slip. I just like this. It's fun, safe. Alright, I'll try it. What does it do? Immediately recover poise after taking damage. Used to recover poise. Also reduces the cooldown. Lengthens time slow and further reduces ability cooldown when used by executing ability. Yeah, sure, why not? So Garuda is just my like evasion mode. This is for combos, and this is for just general combat. Seems decent. I wish mastering them did something other than just let you equip it wherever you want. I have 24,000 points left and I just nothing to spend it on. Everything I'm using is upgraded, I'm pretty sure. Upgraded, upgraded, mastered, upgraded, yeah. Don't get me wrong, I like the ability to equip it on different slots, but you don't need to, it just feels... Why is it even there? What do I do with my 25,000 points? The current level. Okay. All of that, yeah. Continue option. Oh, so you have to beat the entire level without dying. Pretty sure that means cutscenes are off. I still am not confident, but give it a try.
I suppose not.
Okay. Seems like the cutscenes are in fact off.
Mentioned there'd be deadly beasts. There'll be deadly beasts.
Can't skip this though.
Nothing a trained assassin can't handle them.
How reassuring.
You're welcome for that and the shortcut.
I just realized it's a little strange taking Ramu into this, given I'm fighting with Ramu himself. I did the same thing in the opening act. I gotta remember.
Oh, maybe they're not.
Yeah, you gotta charge that. Okay. You guys are way more aggressive in this.
Wake wins.
Oops. Definitely getting used to not having AoE. Yeah, that was the one thing I noticed as I was queuing into this. I do not have a single AoE button. I probably want one. I went through like the last quarter of the game having several AoE buttons, and should probably keep one of those. I don't actually like that you charge this. I don't think it's good enough for having a charge. Rook's Gambit's definitely a boss move, same with this one. Let's see what else I can play with. Always like Diamond Dust. Also good. Maybe I will just take Diamond Dust. Such a useful ability. It's nice to have one kind of panic button. Okay, I want to see which one of these does more damage. They both sound the same, but one of them can be charged. Stop attacking. Doesn't even work on the heavy guys. And neither does this one. But at least it does the full damage. I think I have to like back up to do Ice Age on him. I don't think that works. Okay, I'm not taking Ice Age. Not a good. Whoops. Just. Do I actually want Rift Slip? I feel like I have anything that makes it particularly worth it. I don't have like the Zanetsuken combos anymore. I just take another AoE. 3 and 3. Light gun's always been good. Alright. Here, let's try. Going into Ultimaniac, having never tried it,
I suppose not.
and using a completely different set of skills may not have been the wisest idea, but I tried doing this with my normal build. I was rocking through endgame, and it just did not feel any more difficult than base game, because my normal build was just full CC all the time. It was like, you know, freeze everybody, blow them all up, rift slip so time was frozen, do another AoE that freezes time for 10 seconds, rift slip so time is frozen again, do another AoE that freezes time for 10 seconds, and it was just... The combo was so strong and pretty much unfallible. I just got bored.
Maybe they're friendly like Toggle. Or maybe they're not.
It doesn't work, which is unfortunate.
That's enough.
Oh, that's...
It's over.
Oh, really? I thought I would have armored. Or I thought the wolf would have not armored, I mean. Okay. Oh, I thought I was targeting the Minotaur. Whatever. Okay. I don't understand the purpose of this move. I don't think I ever will. I seen seeing Sid get bodied in slow motion was pretty funny.
Who's that?
That was not bad. Yep. Timing. Oh, I thought I staggered him there. There it is.
Give me fire!
We still have a way to go.
Yeah, but I'm like not dead, Sid. Alright. I didn't realize it limits your like healing items and everything too. So it's definitely harder,
Stay out of its path.
but the reason it's harder is just because like you have less healing and everything hits harder, which is I don't know what I expected. I guess the enemies are more aggro, which I do actually enjoy. But it's like I wish I could have the enemies more aggro without such inflated damage.
Well, the shrubs in these parts are much better.
Only only thing to mention is now.
Okay. Yeah, that's one I was casting there. I can't even tell what's hitting me. Oh, it's the birds. Dude, the lock-on is so annoying. I'd spent that last 8 seconds just trying to swap lock-on to the fucking bird, and it would not let me do it. Ah. Yeah, okay. I'm not really a fan of this. There's parts to it that are fun. But I don't know, it did not add depth to the combat in the way I was hoping it might. I guess I can give this one a try. I mean, part of this is me shooting myself in the foot by just using a
I suppose
pretty
not.
silly set of abilities. I'm sure the ones that protect hits from you are probably much stronger in the harder difficulties.
Nothing a trained assassin can't handle, though.
I haven't been queuing into this for like,
You're
you know,
welcome.
a hardcore challenge. I was just doing it because I was hoping that it would add more fun to the combat. I still like the combat system, but the longer I play it, the more I notice these weird inconsistencies. Stuff that seems questionably designed.
Maybe they're friendly like Toggle. Oh, maybe they're not.
Stay down.
Oh, I didn't know you can move them around. Pretty funny.
Flames to me.
We still have a way to go.
It seems marginally more reasonable. I can definitely see that Ultimania as the suffering game mode just for the sake of doing something really difficult.
Remember when I said there'd be deadly beasts? Well, the shrubs in these parts are much better.
Only only thing to mention is now.
Really wish it would Easier to target the flying guys. Are they dead already?
It's over.
Oh, I tried to push him back into the lightning. God, why can you lock onto the lightning ball?
Garuda, lend me your strength.
Do you just fall when you do that?
Stay down.
Wow, that would be so cool if you could use that to
Sorted. I'll take it from here.
combo people in the air. That was the whole reason I equipped this, was because I was hoping I could combo people in the air with it. I guess I just have to do what I do with Phoenix Dash, but with that instead. We'll see.
Mind your eye.
It's not gonna work on this guy.
A wyvern.
I can see that. Doesn't happen to be a friend of yours, does he?
Who's that?
Oh, I'm not gonna time that right. Sometimes Ignition has a weird button.
Must be a nest nearby. Keep your eyes open.
I have no idea if 800,000 score is like good or not. I don't really. As far as I can tell, just hitting a lot of people with your icon abilities is what gives you the most points, but
I'll admit I hadn't counted on that.
doesn't seem very exciting.
What is it, boy? At least one of us knows these woods. Thank you, Torgal.
I wonder what this game considers like an act.
Well, they look not too happy. And for once, it's not my fault. This is stupid. I like wolves.
I don't think they care, Sid.
Really trying to figure out how to. Oh my god, it does not pop them up anywhere as long as I would hope it would. What of these can you do? Okay. Oh my god, I think I gotta switch off the linear thing. I've seen some people do cool stuff with it, but I have no idea how.
We did what had to be done.
Doesn't mean
I do
have to
like that
it.
No.
you can buffer the heavy charge. I need to start doing that more. Like, what I didn't realize is that you can hold heavy, or hold the attack button while you're in the middle of anything else. Like, I can do... Oh, wait. Maybe that doesn't work. Kinda. I mean, I think I just did it wrong because of the follow-up magic burst you get. But I'm pretty sure you can do that with like any of these other abilities and just immediately heavy attack after whatever it is you're doing. Including like the down thrust finishers and stuff. Which is marginally cool. In the base game, I just never felt like I needed to do anything. I was always just use your strongest move and kill everything.
This shouldn't take too long.
So much for your shortcuts.
Still short, just not quite as quick.
Fine.
But it'll be a damn
See, I still
sight
have the
quicker than
charge. And I got hit.
Exactly.
Okay. Much less useful than I thought it would be. I feel like all the counter moves are just frustrating. Like, I can just dodge and escape anything. Okay, never mind. Wow, getting clapped by this guy.
Aye, someone's got the up. Where he stops, no one knows.
Not this time.
I doubt he'll do that,
Not if we kill him first. Wake wins.
Oh god, move is so weird with the timing. All of his moves are. Like, there's a delay to him, so you have to wait, but he hits you before... Oh my god, I'm actually tilting at this. He hits you before his actual model hits you. That is so weirdly precise. enemy. Oh wait, this works. I think it would. Not very clean, but I'm not a fan of ignition. I don't think I've found a single use for ignition actually being functional. It doesn't do that much damage against staggered enemies. When you use it in a normal fight, it just locks you into that animation. You'll get hit by anything.
What do you think?
And then I don't really see how pushing enemies around the map is particularly useful either. I guess you can use it to like group people up or something, but I don't know. Just use diamond dust and hit everything on the map. Speaking of diamond dust, it's like, why not open up every fight with that? So much damage, staggers everything, freezes time. I'm gonna get hit, aren't I? To spit fire? Is that a New Game Plus move? I don't know if I've ever seen that before. It doesn't even like hold them long enough to actually group them up either. Thought I could predict an attack there. Still alive? They fall out of it. Like if you actually try to spin them around and group them up, they just Oh, that was... I'm used to having a different button bound there. Whatever. Definitely need to swap off. Can I swap off? Ignition, I just fail to see a reason for it.
We follow her upstream and we'll be across within no time.
Do you iframe bring that? Oh, that fire hurts. even hit the fire or the orb. Damn, I really thought I dodged that. No, wrong button. Get me out of here. Useless fucking ability. I think dead to this. I heal before Ooh. Yeah, this is significantly worse of an ability set than the one I used before. But the problem is the one I used before, you don't even get the style on people. You just freeze time for the entire fight. You just chain rift slips after every special move and no one gets to play the game except you. I don't really understand how the markers work. Like the off-screen threat.
That's enough.
It is so weird that there's like a guy is considered too heavy to juggle or anything. Or even like stagger with icon abilities.
Fate is sealed. Flames to me. Give me thunder.
It's weird that that clash is one of the few in the entire game that even if you win, you don't actually do anything. Like, it doesn't hurt the boss or give him stagger bar or anything. This one as well. You punch him in the face and there's nothing. Like, not even a little bit of stagger damage. Try to get that follow-up parry there, and then it works. What Futon has? I think it's fire. Where did it go? Try to parry him. The same animation?
Not this time.
Oh no. That happened in my first playthrough too, where like I got a perfect dodge right before this came up, and Clive says, "Not this time," and then immediately goes to this cutscene, and he goes, "Not this time again," and it was pretty funny to me. Alright, 3 clashes. Am I gonna get anything for winning these? Oh, it just kills him. Okay. Not about that. Marginally more fun in the base game. Babasba. Goodness. I don't even know what any of these are. Okay. Massive damage while semi-primed. Semi-primed. Seconds. Cool. Dodge 30 times. First, punish blow. 6 more lock-ons. Oh, that's cool. I didn't actually know that was a thing. Took note. Did I? Did I avoid every fire? Or is fire futon? The target with deadly embrace. Is that the Garuda circle move? Here's the wizard thing. What? At what point did I do an entire battle? The wyvern, maybe? I think I still got hit though. Act without pause for the duration of the stage's battles. Okay. How that works? Is it just every time you hit someone, your damage multiplier goes up? Wait. If that's true, then I should definitely be reordering some of my attacks, especially with my actual build. I wish I could see what other people score on that. I don't really know how it compares. Oh, okay. Look at that. Top 200. Anonymous. 5.8 million. I wish I could watch like a replay of this or something. For my first attempt at this, I would say 189 is not particularly bad. Although I don't know how many people are even participating on this. Okay, never mind. Yeah, out of 246, it's not very good either. I wonder if running it with, is this specifically? Okay, it's FF. Okay, I was curious if this factored in, like if it had a different leaderboard for the Ultimania. Oh, you get a lot more points for. Heck, these people are doing to get so many points on this. Problem is, like, I just have zero interest in like. Yeah, that's not what I do. I don't even know like what gives you points, and I don't know if I care either. Is there a way to check? Or do you just have to beat stuff up until you see? I mean, it's not fun. Like, the combat in this game is fun, and having more of it, obviously also fun. But at the same time, it doesn't feel like it shakes things up enough in New Game Plus. It just feels like it makes it more punishing and or tedious. Which, fine. And I probably wouldn't have even had a complaint with that if I had just gone into this with the assumption that I had before I started playing this game. But I saw like a couple of heavily pushed videos in the algorithm that were like, New Game Plus changes everything. And I don't know, I kind of took the bait there. I didn't watch the video because I didn't want to get spoiled by it, but I was like generally under the impression that it was like new enemies, new moves, new items, which I guess is also true. But it's kind of a shame going into it with like you not getting anything new. Like the icon abilities I have are all the same I had access to for the last 30% of the normal playthrough. Like I don't feel stronger. Maybe that's because I had the ring on that gave me 20% more ability points, because I wanted to use as many different moves in my playthrough as possible. And I especially was like, there was like moves I really liked, but I didn't like the primal that was associated with it. Like I tried Bahamut a few times, and it was actually really useful in a couple of fights, especially in those moments where you're forced to just like dodge around for a little bit, like when the dragon flies up in the air and he starts, you know, shooting laser beams all over the map. You could just pull out Bahamut and just dodge the projectiles, and while you're waiting, you would charge up for level 4 Bahamut and then blast the crap out of him as soon as you're able to attack. That was like actually a game changer in that one fight. And then every single other time I used it, it was just kind of annoying. Like I wanted to do the Bahamut thing because it was fun, but spending like 35 seconds at the start of every fight at least just like charging up Bahamut. And I learned that like if you perfect dodge, it immediately levels up your charge, which is really cool. But in base game, the enemies don't really attack enough for like that to be relevant. It might actually be a lot stronger in New Game Plus with the increased enemy aggro, especially on Ultimaniac. That was like, I was just getting a constant barrage of wolf bites in my ass. Yeah, it's a shame. Like this is fun, but at the same time, like I don't, having just finished a 70-hour playthrough of this game, 100%ing it, I don't really have like strong motivation to go back and do this all over again in New Game Plus, because I feel like there's nothing I'll actually get out of it. I'll probably play it now and again just because like I enjoy the combat in this game, and so like I'll play it for that sake. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like this, for how great this game is, and there's a lot of it that I really like, feels like it's just missing some things. Like, remember when I started playing and I first got Garuda, and I was like, okay, we're also gonna get like one more over here. But then when it gave me Ramu, it gave it to me down here. I was like, wait, are we gonna get like a full circle? And the answer is yes. And somehow it was like more disappointing than if we had just gotten 3. And I mean that because like I had really low expectations for the amount of abilities you get, especially because you can only equip like, I mean at the time it didn't even imply that you could equip more of them, so I wasn't expecting it. But like once I got the 3rd one, I was like, okay, shit's getting interesting now. Then I got the 4th one and I realized I can't even equip it. I had to like give up one of these. I was like, oh, so now this is much less interesting than I was hoping in terms of the number of abilities you get. But you know, Earth Guy was pretty cool. Definitely liked it more than Ramu. I mean, I kept Lightning Rod because it was just such a good ability, but you know, Wind Up was fun. Earth and Fury was not nearly as good as it is when Hugo uses it, but still good. This one was okay too. This one I had some fun with, mainly just I like parrying attacks, just a satisfying thing to do. And the block is cool. I was excited to get a block, because that was the thing. I was like, wow, you can't block attacks in this game. Like you can just parry or dodge, but then you get this, so that alleviates that problem. Then I got Bahamut, and I was like, okay, none of these abilities seem good. That one, this seems useful, But like, there's you can only get 6, you know. Like I want my exciting fun buttons, and this was just like minor utility. And then I was even more disappointed with Shiva. This sound this sounded amazing. Like drawing enemies in was such a nice thing to read because I was like, oh man, I can throw down a lightning bolt or the lightning rod. I can draw all the enemies into it. I can throw down another AoE and like hit them all. But this just does not work. I don't know if it's like the projectiles don't auto aim for you. Because this makes it look like, oh, you just press the button and you're going to swoop everybody in. That is not the case. I've pulled like 2 or 3 enemies at absolute most with this, and that's when it's upgraded, when it also fires 3 more shards behind you. I don't believe that actually happens, or if it does, I don't think those shards pull enemies in or something. I would run into a whole circle of enemies, and I would use this, and there'd be 2 people on top of me. I was like, there was 10 enemies surrounding me. There's no way that I only hit 2 of those. And then this one, you know, we showed in this video that I'm not very happy with it. And then Rhyme sounded really cool. I especially like the idea of comboing it with Lightning Rod. But in actual practice, it goes too far. Because like when you do Lightning Rod, it kind of knocks you back a little bit. And I was thinking like, okay, this would be perfect. I'll do Lightning Rod, leap back, and then immediately Rhyme. But when you do that, it puts Rhyme just on the other side of the boss. Or whoever, like the enemy you staggered is, just out of range of the lightning ball. So you have to take like another step back before casting Rhyme. And it was one of those things that messed up your flow. And it also just didn't really, like on its own, it didn't seem like it did enough to be worth it. And then weirdly, the cooldown was so short that it became a problem because like it would be off cooldown while Lightning Rod still had like 30% of its cooldown left. And it was like too much time to feel like I shouldn't use it and I should wait. But then if I did use it, I wouldn't have it when Lightning Rod came back. So that got super awkward. And then Diamond Dust is just crazy, but it's not fun. Like, using this button is literally just like, okay, I win the fight now. Which is really good, but it wasn't very like exciting. Odin came in clutch. Like Odin as an ability set was way cooler than I had expected it to be. But the problem is Odin just trivializes the entire game. Like you use Odin and then you just freeze time forever. And then I also think it's awkward swapping to the sword. I wish like when you were in Odin stance, you just used the sword automatically. Or like when you know, left trigger to swap to focus on this one, you just had the sword out. Having to press circle to pull out the sword is such an awkward step in the middle of your combos or whatever. Ifrit, Garuda are still probably my favorites, just for their general, how familiar I am with them. Odin's absolutely my least favorite. I cannot see a single time where this ability is actually useful. I like this though, and Lightning Rod is probably my most used ability in the entire game just because of how unique it is. But yeah, I mean, I can go back to my old build. Was Odin. I used Shiva, which might actually be better. But I love being able to like leap at enemies in the air. That's such a fun like combo button. It's not very good, but it's just fun. And then Garuda is just useful for being able to pull enemies down to the ground. For that extra stagger. It's like the only ability here that... I guess they all work against bosses. None of them really have any issues. I also like being able to grapple myself into the air. That's fun. This one just doesn't feel like it does enough damage. Weird, I feel like this does more damage than this. Just has a bigger AoE. Freezes time, which is nice. Just feel like this one isn't so useful enough. I actually really like this one just for how much stagger damage does. Oh, what the wrong. I remember when I first got this, I felt like this was just did so much damage. I feel like it doesn't actually for how long the cooldown is. Certainly fun. But I like having a I love lightning rod. I'm considering taking it off just because like I can only use this when the boss is staggered. Pretty much any other time it's kind of useless. Even then, sometimes when I stagger an enemy, but it just makes such a difference. There's so much damage you get out of it. And it is pretty cool when you manage to use this. And like, I did it in the Hugo fight. I remember, it unfortunately wasn't the winning run because I had died to the instant kill move. But he has an attack where he kind of like dances around the map and does like a bunch of punches. And I had accidentally put this down, the lightning rod, and I had like chained like 3 precision dodges in a row to like dodge his combo move that he does. And the last one he did, just through sheer coincidence, no planning on my part, punched right into the lightning rod, and my precision dodge like ended with me in perfect position with him just like kneeling inside the lightning rod. But I remember saying out loud, like, "Oh, you're so fucked now," or something like that. Like it was such a satisfying moment because it looked so intentional and like just the perfect setup. That way, like he staggered himself hitting the lightning rod, and then I was just in prime position to immediately hit him with the Ramu Thunderbolt and the Garuda Claws and whatever. I think I was using Rising Flame at the time. Whatever, you know, biggest damage moves I had. That was good. That mission, Capital Punishment, leading up to the Hugo fight is absolutely the best part of this entire game. By like a margin so wide, I'm slightly disappointed. Fighting Bahamut in space was cool, but I never really liked the Titan battles or the Icon battles. they're just like glorified cutscenes to me. It's impossible to lose during them. It's not like very responsive. Everything feels kind of like slow and floaty. It's cool to look at, but to actually play is very boring. You just mash square the whole time. And then, you know, the last fight in the game, you get a super move. Or the second to last one you get in the game, you get a super move. It's okay, but it wasn't anything, not very exciting. The Odin fight was really cool too. Like, specifically the battles against Odin was then my second favorite part of the whole game. But in terms of the combination of like emotions and like build up and vibe and like the feeling of everything coming together leading up to that fight, you could have ended the game after killing Hugo and I would have been ecstatic. I was way more floored from that whole segment than I was of anything from the moment Odin dies to the end of the game. Fighting Ultima as a human had some fun parts to it. Just because it's a very like fast-paced fight, and I enjoy those. Same reason for Odin. But I don't think Ultima is a good villain. I still don't understand the whole Logos thing. I mean, I know like Pathos, Ethos, and Logos. Pretty sure Logos is ironically not the logic one, if I remember right. Maybe it is, I'm just being dumb. Yeah, okay, no, it is. It's reason. I don't understand what what the relevancy of that is to Muthos or Clive or Sid or Ifrit or whatever his 17 names are. He just started saying Logos over and over again and never elaborated on what any of that meant. Yeah, he's probably my least favorite character in like the entire game, Ultima. Every other boss was interesting. Like Benedicta was just really cool because of how novel everything was, and I didn't feel like I was gonna be able to beat that fight. Not like me gameplay wise, but I didn't feel like Clive was strong enough to beat that fight. But the way it progressed made me realize, like, oh shit, okay, he's a bigger deal than you would think. I went into this game completely blind. Like, I did not know that collecting icons was even a thing in this game. I had no information. So that was a cool reveal, like stealing her power. I was literally as surprised as Sid was about that. And then this next one, Hugo, yeah, favorite boss in the entire game. Hugo, it was so well done. The P, like when you get to Rosaria and you just see the savagery going on there, and like you feel that rage, but at the same time, like it's hard to explain. Like there's obviously a lot of anger there and fury and rage and all that stuff, but there was also just like that feeling of like distraughtness. And you know what, the voice actor for Clive goes crazy, and when he was saying stuff like, you know, the only fitting punishment for these crimes, and you know, like I'll rip you to shreds, and like all that stuff to just the Kupka soldiers that were around Rosaria, it was all very believable. And like I could feel it too, because I also grew attached to like Rosaria, so seeing it just absolutely butchered like that was, you know, pissed me off. But at the same time, you had that feeling of like almost more powerful than the rage is just like the despair, knowing that even if you do butcher every single person here, it's not going to change anything. Like Rosaria is still dead. And also like Hugo is fucking Titan. I did not think, I thought he was going to be like the final boss of the game. I didn't think that we were just going to beat him there. I thought that was like, I thought Jill was going to die 100%. And so like the piano that was playing during that scene when you're fighting through the castle, It kind of reminded me of like the Hollow Bastion theme back in Kingdom Hearts when you lose your Keyblade and you lose all your friends and you're just like alone with Beast. Like that same kind of just like dreadful piano was so good. And it was such an interesting contrast, like just absolutely ripping people to shreds, limit breaking and like chaining all these combos together and just like being as brutal as possible in killing those soldiers. But the music was not some epic brutal rage fight music. It was just like every time you like recognized it in your mind or your head and you thought about the music that was playing, it just like immediately brought you back to that sense of like despair. And the only distraction available from that despair was the rage of the combat. And it, oh my god, it was so beautiful. And it cultivates with Jill looking like she's actually gonna die. And I enjoyed the twist with Torgal. Mainly just because I didn't care what it was. I just wanted some reason for Jill to not die there. I also really liked Gav in that scene. And then, yeah, you get to the Hugo fight. And, like, I still thought that Hugo was going to blast us. I don't know why. I severely underestimated Clive's strength, his power, and the power scaling scenario. So, like, when he starts egging Hugo on and telling him, like, it was actually me who killed Benedicta, it wasn't Sid, and then, like, Hugo goes even crazier. I was like, oh no. And then, you know, Clive is just like, you know, you're not the only one who has seen their world fall apart around them. Like, you'll get no sympathy from me and no mercy. I was like, at that line, I was like, wait. Are we actually, like, is this just an actual fight? Like, am I, you know, can we win here? And the fight starts out, and the first attempt I did was beautiful. I was precision dodging. I was getting like really good combos. I had that moment where I baited him at the lightning rod, and I'm so sad that I died to the instant kill move because like, it was so embarrassing. Like I backed up as far as I could, but I think I was against the wall on one side. And I was just barely, like, I had him positioned just barely too close to the wall where I couldn't get out of range in time. So I died to it, and I just immediately assumed that it covered the entire map. So I thought there was, like, something else you had to do to survive it, like limit break or jump or dodge or, I don't know, anything. So I did, like, 3 more attempts where I just kept dying to that same part because I was trying to figure out how to get around it. And then I think the last time I died, I realized there was part of the map that was actually like not covered by it. And I was like, oh, I'm just being an idiot. I just have to run far enough away from him. And then the next run after learning that, for whatever reason, I think I was just tired because it was late at night. I was playing really sloppy. And like I beat him, but it wasn't nearly as stylish as that first run. And like, if I had gotten footage of that first run all the way through to completion, it would have been perfect in terms of like a cinematic visual standpoint. But yeah, like the reason I started believing that Clive could actually beat Hugo was because of how the fight was like played out in game. Like when you know, I was ready to go, like the music and everything, perfect climax to that whole arc. And the way the combat played out was just such a spectacle and so exciting that like Hugo kept amping up the stakes and like, you know, getting more and more powerful as the fight progressed. But like every time he got more powerful, I just got more hype about fighting him. And I was like, yeah, we're gonna absolutely body him. And I definitely expected him to like escape still alive, but Clive cutting his hands off was, oh, it was great. That was such a nice reward for all the suffering that had led up to that point. And then him turning into like a big baby. I thought he was going to go like fully prime right there, and that was just going to transition immediately into the Titan fight. And then that is like right after that is the moment where the game started falling off for me. Because instead of just going after him, we had to do that whole thing with like, I don't even remember his name, the guy in the desert. And we had to go, you know, Lubor, I think it is. We had to go make friends with him, and just the pacing of it was butchered. And the actual fight against Titan priming was just a primal fight. Like, it was cool, but definitely not as like exciting to me as the actual like sword combat. Every time you turn into Ifrit, I just immediately enjoy the game less. The only real exception being the Odin fight. That one was really cool. Um, yeah, and then I just felt like after that, it just turned into MMO gameplay, where it was just like go to the location, befriend a bunch of people there, unlock the side quests, do all the side quests, go do one story quest, and then get another 15 side quests, and then do one story mission, and then another 15 side quests, and it was just like, it turned into like a grind as opposed to just like that hype story the game had been building up all the way through the first part of the Hugo fight. That was weird. Sorry for the sudden hiccup in this recording. I was remixing my last recording because my microphone was on a different audio track, and I can't edit the like MKV files that OBS records with by default, so I have to convert it to MP4 and then edit it in Resolve to fix the audio track. But for some reason, while I was rendering the video and like finalizing it, Resolve made a 700 gigabyte file on my hard drive, and that took up all of the remaining space on my hard drive, and I got a notification that I ran out of disk space again for recording, so that was strange. But I do think I pretty much said everything I wanted to. Like, up until the Hugo fight, this game was like 11 out of 10 for me, and just kept getting better. And then immediately after the Hugo fight, I felt like I was waiting for something that never came. I don't really know what it was, but like the game had been topping itself. Phrasing. Game had been, raising the stakes and surprising me with just like better content and more stuff and more intense scenes and all that constantly ever since I started playing it. And then after the Hugo fight, I felt like I was kind of just waiting for that next moment. And like I went through that whole desert arc, and pacing just like really fell off, especially with all the side quests. And then finally got to the Titan Primal fight, and it was cool at the beginning, but weirdly the last part where he becomes just super large and you're kind of just running up his tentacles just felt weird. I don't know how to explain it, but it didn't feel like Titan. It just felt like a giant rock mountain that was beating up a bunch of quick time events. And then, the way the fight worked was like he would punch and then his arm would kind of just linger there, and you just kind of beat up his arm for a while, and it just, I don't know, I didn't love it. And then after Titan, I don't even remember what came after Titan. There was so many, like all I remember is side quests and hunt board and just like doing filler content in order to see everything the game had to offer. And then eventually, what did we do? Oh yeah, you fought the Barnabas's like creation, the white hair guy. That was actually with Gugnir. That was a pretty fun fight, I won't lie. I enjoyed that. Oh, then I remember. And I remember immediately after that fight, you fight Barnabas in a cutscene, and he just is a guy with a sword, and he whoops your ass, even though you never use a single one of your icon abilities in that fight. You don't limit break, you don't use any of your Ifrit or Phoenix abilities, you don't use any of, you don't precision dodge, you don't do anything that the game has like really clearly shown is like a canon ability that you have, and you just kind of lose in a cutscene without even not even getting an attempt to fight him, and then he takes Shiva from you. And I was just like, dude, you gotta be kidding me. Like, you are doing the exact same thing that happened with the Hugo fight, but just less interesting and less believable. Like, Hugo seemed more powerful than Barnabas, even with his anime sword that cuts through dimensions or whatever it is. The final fight with But the weird thing too is that like you go and fight him a second time, and that time it actually is gameplay at when he splits the sea in half. And again, it just kind of felt like a repeat of the Hugo fight, but less interesting. And then when you actually fight him, I was like, okay, let's go. Like now I get to fight him. And then they did show him as being like ridiculously powerful in that fight because he had the purple bar where it like is press the attack. It's like the DPS check, and it's impossible to actually beat that DPS check. And that was like, okay, they could have done that the first time and at least made it clear and like clear to you how strong he is, because the cutscene did not convey it. It just made it look like Clive lost all his ability to fight and knowledge and experience and everything for no discernible reason whatsoever. But then you lose again, and they do another moment with Shiva, with them pretending that Shiva's going to die to the curse, even though it never happens, and she just... I did not like that whole dynamic. And you lose again in the cutscene, and it just kicks you back. And I was tilted after that, especially because immediately after you just get thrown another 40 cutscenes. And then once you got to Ash, things definitely got more interesting again. And then, you know, fighting Odin was fun. It was all a good time. I actually liked the final fight against Odin. Like I said, that was probably my second favorite fight in the game. That one was cool. But, yeah, I don't know. It just... Even like after going through the Odin fight... Oh yeah, you get back to Odin and he's like suddenly you're bodying him. Like suddenly you're normal gameplay again, and there's no like Deus Ex Machina moments where you lose in a cutscene. Like you just fight him head on, and nothing has changed about your character. You have not gotten any new primal abilities. You haven't leveled up a whole lot. I just did a bunch of side quests and then came back to fight him a second time. I was using the exact same loadout, the exact same skills I used in the first fight, but now it just like was not forcing these cutscene moments where I suddenly lose. And Barnabas is like, "You've gotten so much stronger in such a short time." And I was like, "No, I haven't. Like I'm literally no different than I was the first time I fought you. It's just there's no cutscenes that are making me lose." So that was weird. And then everything after that, just like the lead up to Ultima was a spectacle, but I didn't really love it. Fighting Bahamut previously, before... Oh, sorry, dropped something. Fighting Bahamut in space was cool, but it was also like, what? Like, why are we in space? Like, I get we're primals, but like, they're not immortal. Like, you can kill a primal by apparently just biting its face, or an icon or whatever, the big version of them. So why are they able to breathe in space? It didn't really make a lot of sense to me. Also, fire in space doesn't work, but it's a fantasy game, so whatever. I don't know, it was just weird. Like, Hugo was the perfect middle ground between like being grounded within the rules of like the setting that you would come to understand, while also seeming like this impossibly strong and unsurmountable threat. And then once you beat Hugo, you're like, okay, I guess we're just kind of a god now. So every other moment after that where you lose in a cutscene after winning in a fight just did not hit at all. Like, it's crazy. Like, even the Hugo moment kind of upset me when you win a fight and you turn around and he just somehow Titan, like literally Titan, was able to sneak up and just grab Jill like from behind and just choke her out to the point where she can't do anything. That seemed a little forced, but I was willing to buy into it because like I was so emotionally invested in that vengeance arc that like I could understand both of these characters just being like so distracted by their fury that they didn't notice it. But that was the absolute limit of what I was able to tolerate as far as losing in cutscenes go. And then it just, every single fight from that point on was win in a battle, lose in a cutscene. inexplicably get stronger in the span of 10 seconds and then come back and beat him again the second time. And it just got old. Like that's what I mean by doing the MMO thing. Like, as much as I love Final Fantasy XIV, the last two expansions, Shadowbringers and Endwalker, and also I think this kind of started in Stormblood too. They repeat this cycle of like, go to a new area, do a bunch of chores for people until they suddenly trust you a lot, and then, you know, now you're friends with everybody, and then you go actually play the game, and then you beat whatever boss that you're focusing on in that area, and you go to another area and you have to do it all over again. You have to make your case, people, no one trusts you, no one cares about you, so you have to do a bunch of chores for people, and then suddenly everyone in that location supports you now, and then you actually go play the game. And it, like, that constant up and down cycle definitely drags on by the end of each expansion. Like in Endwalker, I remember getting to the Loporits, and I was like, dude, you brought me to the fucking moon. This has been hyped up for like a decade, and finally we're here on the fucking moon. And the very first thing you make me do, after like some cutscenes and wandering around the moon for a little bit, is like pick carrots for fucking rabbit people. I was just like, dude, you gotta shake it up a little bit. Like, I get it's like a big theme in the story is that like the people like your character and trust your character because you actually help the people. It's not like you don't just show up, kill a demon god, and then leave. You know, you go around and help people. I get it, but like, when you build up so much tension and so much hype around something, and you finally put the player in that position to face that hype and that climax that you've been leading up to, and then you make them spend like 4 hours doing mundane activities, it just shatters everything about all of that tension, to the point where when you finally get to the actual fight, you're not even like excited for it anymore. Like, it's all been vented out. It's like revving up an engine before you're about to race a car. You're like getting the engine hot, you're revving it, you're getting the RPMs going, and it's like, you know, the red light's going like beep, 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 but like right before the actual start, it just like stops, and you're like, okay, real quick, I gotta put a shopping cart in the back of your car. I need you to go drive this down the street, you know, bring it to this Safeway, fill it up with some groceries, bring it back, and I need these parts to fix the racetrack or something before we can actually race. And you go do all of that, and you get back to the racetrack, and like by the time you're ready to go race again, like all of that tension that is built up has just been vented out. The engine's not hot anymore, the RPMs aren't high, you know, like all that stuff. It's like if you have like a sport, you know, and it's a really close game the entire time, and it like there's like a really clutch play at the end that ties the game up right before the clock runs out, and like, okay, it's overtime, like, you know, you're at the peak, everything good. Like, okay, we're gonna take a 40-minute commercial break before overtime starts. It's like, dude, you gotta let people get that moment that they've been edging them for it for so long. And I don't know, maybe it's just like one of the bad things, or I don't know if bad is the right word, but one of the things I don't particularly love about the MMO game design being applied to this game, because that's what, you know, Yoshi P is known for, obviously. There's a lot pulled from 14 that I did really like in this game, like references and just general theming and stuff like that I did think worked really well. But there's obviously some not so great stuff too. But that's the thing, is like, of all the things you put in this game from 14, the one thing they didn't put in this game, which I think it needed the most, is the equivalent of like extremes and savage fights. Like, from what I can tell, New Game Plus is not different. The enemies, you know, they don't stand still for 30 minutes like they do in the base game until you hit them. Like, they'll actually attack you. Just good, I guess. But that's kind of it. Like they'll take enemies that you fought in late game and plop them into an early game area inexplicably, like the random minotaur in that forest full of wolves. But they don't have new moves. They don't like chain their specials together in any way I've seen. Like we fought the Chimera, and I was really hoping the Chimera was going to do something crazy, but he just didn't. Like you wouldn't even have to have given the Chimera new moves, but have him do like, you know, what is it, Gaze of the, like Dragon's Gaze and Ram's Gaze, I think is what it is. The lightning circle and then the inner explosion ice one. Have him do that while like also breathing fire or like also doing the lightning bolts from the sky. I don't know, just like do what 14 does, where like they remove some of the telegraphs for the attacks. Like it'll say Dragon's Gaze, but it won't show the big glowing purple circle on the ground where he's gonna make the attack. You know, like do anything to just make it like something that you can apply more mastery to. But it, as far as I can tell, that's not the case. And I'll probably play through New Game Plus a little more later, see if once you get past the like tutorial segment of the game, you know, like after you get to the time skip again, if things get more interesting. But it's hard to work out the motivation to keep playing this. I liked so much about it. Like I mentioned every single thing I didn't like about this game, but literally every single other thing I loved. I just feel like it's kind of obvious all the other stuff is really good, and I don't really need to spend a bunch of time talking about it. Yeah, that'll probably do it for this video. I gotta combine these 15-minute segment with the previous video because of that weird DaVinci Resolve bug. But thanks for watching. If you agree or disagree about anything I said, feel free to share your comments. I have seen absolutely zero people talk about the Rosaria segment. Everyone talks about the Titan boss fight and how good the music is, but like the piano track leading up to the Titan boss fight is by far the best song in the entire game to me, and I don't even know what it's called. I can't find it anywhere. I can't find anyone talking about it. I watched one other video of someone playing that segment, and that song wasn't even playing for them. So I don't know if I just got like lucky with like the random track or something like that, but like if you go back and watch my video, I think it was like episode 23 or something, you can see like the second I walk into Rosaria and you see like the meteors flying and the soldiers just, you know, executing people, like that piano comes in and it is harrowing. And I haven't heard a single other person mention it. So if you had any similar experience with that part of the game that I did, it would be cool to know, because I want to see if other people liked it as much as me, or maybe I'm just weird to things I enjoy, or maybe I got lucky, I guess, with that track playing, because I haven't heard it anywhere else. I couldn't find it in the Orchestrion roll. I didn't get every single Orchestrion, but I got most of them. And I'm pretty sure I got all the ones from like the Rosaria area. But yeah, also if anyone knows what that song is, definitely let me know. But yeah, that's gonna do it for watching.